as intended. You know, it's like anything in the library could hurt someone when used not as intended. But a drone is a little bit outside of our comfort zone on several of these directions. So yes, there are things I will say no to. Drones would be one of them. Okay, other questions? All right, so I talked a little bit about Summer Game. If you're interested, there's a great video about it that we've got. You can just go to play.adl.org and read back through the whole history of the game. One of the things that really shows about this is the engagement. Look at that, 104 comments. I mean, this is like unheard of in the library space to have comments on blog posts. And what they look like, this is like the final part of the game. So the comments here, thanks for a great summer game. We've had a terrific time with the game. I love Summer Game 2014, had a great time. You know, loved the summer game this year. Remember we talked about love. I probably spent too much time on it, but also learned more about Ann Arbor places and library resources thanks for the immense amount of time and effort your staff put into it. Even though I didn't play that much this year, I can tell it's getting better and better every year. Great job with Summer Game. Hate to see it end, but looking forward to next year. Going on and on and on and on and on. Most of these people are not children. Okay, the game is all ages. We have people who play it all ages. We have grandmothers who play it with their children. We have people who play it when they're on vacation in China. We have it's played all over the place. And it's a lot of fun and just a super powerful way to engage. Any questions about the summer game? This is very much sort of a public library thing. Yes?
Do you answer those questions?
Yeah.
Like there was one that was about badge design.
Yes, and they always get their comments there. There will be a response further down the page. We don't do threaded replies because not all of our users understand threaded replies. But someone said, because players can submit their own badges, but we don't tell them how. Because figuring it out is part one of designing a badge. You know, so they have to figure out how to provide the image and what goes into making a badge, and then they just email it to us. And then they get points for making a badge, and then their badge becomes playable by other players. There's a question for me here. I swear, Eli, you're tempting me to spend my 200,000 points on that super item, for that mystery item mainly. Unless that mystery item is a code for Shovel Knight on the 3DS. No, it's not a code for Shovel Knight on the 3DS. So this was like the last end of the game. And so one thing is that at the very end, we dropped these badges. This was the last badge drop. Okay, so every Friday, new badges appear. Okay, this was the last badge drop of 2014. All of these badges are the badges you get for completing an entire series. So for example, this was my series last year, Polkamania, exploring the intersection between Pokemon and polka music. So you had to get all the other badges in order to get this, including these 5 badges, as well as the Super Polka bonus, which is for getting all the bonus codes. And then you got this. You can see 79 players got this one, and this was one of the tough badges. So this was not easy to get. Now on the flip side, Master Branch Explorer, meaning someone who visited all of our branches, 274 players got this one. And if we look at any one branch, like Super Downtown Master here, Super Downtown Master, 431 players got the badge for playing Super Downtown, for finding the, let's see, 24 game codes hidden around the downtown library. So people go crazy for this stuff.
Did you have a website for your Civ City Quest?
There isn't one yet.
Okay.
It's a night challenge,
okay.
So you can search for Civ City Night Challenge. You can see the answer.
Okay.
Okay, I think, are we supposed to go till 5 or 5:15? 5:15, okay. So we got a few minutes more. I have a video about the summer games. People want to see that?
Yes,
Yeah?
sure.
Okay.
Do you have a great graphics group that does all those fun badges?
We work with an outside designer on the template. The librarians do most of the graphic design. Now these ones here were mostly done by the designer because it's one of the things we pay for. But if we go back one week, whoops. These ones are all made by the librarians who are making the badges. So it's basically they're finding an image on the web and then using the template to apply words to it. So for example, you know, here's the geocache mask, which uses that. We had a Whitney Houston badge, I want to dance with somebody. You know, that was, again, that's 182 players got that one. Oh, and you can see with that first, whoops. Okay, you can see on the Whitney Houston badge, where did that go? Did I just get kicked off the Wi-Fi? No. Here's a good question. The very first video that MTV played on air in 1981 was for a song with a significant title. Find a soundtrack in our catalog that contains that song. What was the first music video played on MTV?
You killed the radio star.
You killed the radio star. Now, that's on purpose because it makes the younger kids realize that their parents know things. Right? This is a hard thing for them to understand at this point. But, you know, that's the same thing with Pokemon. And the year before that, I did Doily Kart Grand Prix. which required knowledge of Mario Kart and Gilbert and Sullivan. So you had to combine those two things together. So, you know, you were going to have to ask an old person what operetta is most like Mario and Luigi. You know, so it works out very well. It's a lot of fun. Okay, let me show that video. Let's see. Okay, I got it. Hang on just a minute. Here we go. All right. Okay. See if I can get enough volume on this for you guys.
So replace this game?
So it's kind of inspiring. It just excuses of going to get out, do things, to we got out the longer activities in libraries in particular that we might have otherwise.
Just a wide variety of topics. There's everything from animals to this time there were sports.
That's an actual game code.
Summer game is a really powerful tool for engaging our community.
Summer game is probably almost as fun to make as it is to play.
That's one of the nice things about making clues is that you can design a clue that's only 2 sentences long and have 3 or 4 different ways that people can apply it. What's fun about it, there's a treasure hunt element, which humans love to hunt and gather.
There's something magical happening between the parents and the kids when the whole family can be involved as a team.
You have kids saying things to you like, this is so important to me. And what, I mean, how many 7-year-olds say that about anything?
Researching and I'm pretty much learning a lot more new stuff.
For us, it's fun because we hang out together and it's an alternative to just watching cartoons.
It's really fun and keeps me busy.
Hey, when you find the catfish, no matter how old you are, you can play this game. And you can be rewarded.
850 people visit the director's office to find the code there.
Okay, I'm hooked. Kill me. There's gotta be a catch, right?
First of all, what we're trying to do is make something that is fun for our users. If they learn something along the way, that's great. But we want it to be fun first.
Many people were playing games ready for finding out how much they didn't know about the library. And that is
Awesome. Sign me up. I want to play right now.
Excellent. Let's go visit someone. You can play the someone game.
So sorry, it's hard to hear that. One thing that you'll notice is we use fair use, right? We didn't ask any of those rights holders to use excerpts from their works, right? Because it's fair use. It's less than a 30-second excerpt. It in no ways affects the commercial value of their works. It has an educational purpose, and it's transformative, right? It's the 4 tests. This means we can't apply for any ALA awards about the program, because they all expressly say you can't use someone else's intellectual property, right? No, that's okay. We don't lose any sleep about that. But this gives you a good idea of what's involved and what the experience is like for players of all ages. And really, it's like, I mean, I think in many homes, the parents are into it more than the kids, you know? And the kids, like you said, my favorite part is going to all the events and getting codes. He's not interested in sitting there and solving puzzles, right? The teens are really into the solving puzzles, and the adults. Okay, got a few more minutes. Any other questions about the summer game? Okay, let's see, what else? So, one other thing on a completely different tack is when our newspaper closed, we were able to negotiate a deal to take possession of their archives. Okay? Now, we do not own the copyright to the materials. The newspaper still owns, or what, the holding company that owned the holding company that owned the holding company that owned the newspaper holds the rights. However, we have a permanent license to distribute them freely from our website, which is all we need. The only thing we can't do is give someone permission to use them in a commercial work, right? Which isn't a big loss for us, as you might imagine. Okay? So we got this collection of all their bound volumes, hundreds of thousands of clippings, and about 1 million photo negatives, only a fraction of which had never been published before. That's gold. This is like the most valuable thing. So one of our teams, the archives team, works on all of this, and instead of starting at A and plugging our way through there, this is almost exclusively digitized in response to demand. So by getting the stuff up there, people are contacting us and saying, I'm researching this thing. Do you have anything on this thing? And we will do some research for them on demand. And instead of emailing them the thing or a citation, we post it on the web and email them a link. So it's really digitization by demand. And then we, like I talked about with the arts blog, we started this by commissioning features from local historians who write about things that happened in history. And then we had one feature about our own history. Here's our sister city program. So we had a historian write this. Every one of these things is a link to another article, or here's five attending the Belize session. The other thing is we scan this at a lot higher quality than Google News does. We scan it at full resolution, full color. You can practically smell the moldiness from right here. That's what people are looking for. And the other thing is that for every document that we post, a librarian chooses the metadata that goes with that image. That is the greatest value. So look at all these keywords. Chamber of Commerce, chapter of People to People, authors, Belize City, Belize, Lurie Terrace, Michigan Governor. I mean, this is professional metadata, and that adds so much value to it, far beyond just the OCR. So we have several newspapers that we've digitized in that format, as well as, like we said, all the news photos. This was just something we had someone who was researching the anti-Nazi demonstration in 1982. So, and you know who asked about this the most? Is the people who work for what's left of the paper. Because we have their archives, and they're writing about something, so we digitize it for them, and then they can link to it. So here's more pictures from that demonstration, because this was just a request. There's a federal building. Lots of pictures from this. And this was just a response to one question. We digitized all these photos, and not as printed, from the negatives, which means including photos that were never printed in the paper. Because they go and take 300 pictures, especially once they went digital, and they'd only publish a handful of them. Let's see when we get past some of this. So here's a story about the NAACP president of Ann Arbor. Jump a few pages back here. Japanese submarine on parade, July 1943. So that was a pretty cool one. Going under the Ann Arbor Railroad tracks. This is the spoils of war being paraded through the streets. And then NAACP again. And here's something more recent when someone was asking about this. So we also have all their CDs from all the photos they shot once they went digital. So we just got lots of stuff. So we approach it as a service as opposed to a collection. Any questions about that? Yes?
You said, I think in your earlier talk you had the hippie newspaper?
Yes, the Sun.
Do you have an example of?
Sure. So here's all the issues. Let's pick one of the later ones. Let's see. A2T T-shirt store. Here's one of the ads. A2 T-shirt store, over 4,000 different T-shirts, TEA. Now, do you know why they're calling it that way? Because T was a 70s euphemism for weed, right? So the A2 T-shirt store is the exclusive distributor in Ann Arbor for Scam, the game of international dope smuggling. A great gift, $8. Comics and posters now available. So there's lots of great ads in there, but also the, whoops. See, this is when the newspaper is starting to look respectable. Let me go back a little bit further. Because one thing is that a lot of the newspaper digitization software doesn't track mandala-shaped columns. Like, they have some really crazy, here's some of the first issues when it was really more of a pamphlet. See this, the doposcope, what is this? So yeah, I mean, this is what their articles looked like. You know, it's crazy. So here's been, yeah. So lots of great stuff in there. This we've heard from scholars again of this time, how useful this is to them, because we've taken this alongside. There's a historical library in Ann Arbor on the campus of the university, the Bentley. They have amazing collections, but they don't have a lot of funding to get stuff digitized. So a lot of times we do projects, we'll get things from the Bentley's permission and get their permission to digitize it. So for example, so the whole freeing John Sinclair thing, he was a young hippie in Ann Arbor who got busted for selling 2 joints to an undercover officer, got sent to prison for 10 years, became a cause celeb for the movement, and they had a Free John rally, and it was John Lennon and Yoko Ono came and performed. It was their first performance in the US since the Beatles had broken up. Big deal. Stevie Wonder was there, Abby Hoffman was there. It's just this crazy. So this whole website was done for the 40th anniversary of that original concert. So we have all these recordings of their meetings that were in the Bentley. So all these audio recordings, as well as in here somewhere, let me see if I can find it here real quick. Some of these then are also recordings, podcasts of people looking back on there. And one of the guys who was there at the time gave us a recording and said, you can't release this for 5 years because I don't want this out there until my children are a little older. You know? So we said, fine, we'll be here. Let's see. There's a great recording in here we got to find real quick. Poetry reading, radio meeting. Okay. This is the recording of the phone call when John Sinclair was released from prison with John Lennon and Yoko Ono. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. No, okay, yeah. Anyway, you know, it's an interesting mix of accents because John Sinclair's wife was German. So, you know, you got John and they're saying, yeah, it's really great, it's so wonderful. And then John Sinclair's wife is saying, yeah, it's far out. Far out. So, it's wonderful. So, lots of good stuff in there. Any questions about Minecraft?
What's your username?
Ulotricus, like my, I'm not online very much at all. And actually, if you see me on there, it's probably one of my children using my account. Okay, we're almost out of time. Any other questions? Yes?
What do you use for OCR and how do you clean it up?
We have a couple different approaches, okay? So one thing is we work with a vendor who does conversion for us. It's a company local in Ann Arbor where we have one company do the scanning, another company do the conversion into XML and do the OCR. They do a really nice job. Server side, we're using Tesseract, interestingly enough, which is a great server-side tool. But then we have a game for correction. Let's see. Let me just show you that real quick. So, Pointomatic. Where is it? Textulating recognizerator mode. Let me actually jump into that. I actually don't have enough points myself to unlock it, but I know that recognizerator. I know that the URL works even if you don't have your name in there. Whoops. Underscore. There we go. This is our OCR correction game. What's this word? Poison. Positively. With this tool, we very quickly gotten 5 instances of every word that we wanted to correct. It makes for very high quality OCR. And it's free. Costs us nothing. Other questions? Yes?
Who designed your digital badge system and who designed that?
This was all done by my staff. The digital badge system was designed by internal developers.
All in Drupal?
Yeah, it's a Drupal module. Actually, you can download our summer game module. It's on our GitHub page. So it is for Drupal 6. So it's for a slightly older version, but you can download it and use it. And this is also a Drupal module. Now again, this stuff is all very dependent on our specific environment, but it can help it can give your geeks a big leg up as far as development goes. Okay, almost out of time. Any other questions? All right, thank you all very much for listening.